Hey, hi everybody. Welcome to another episode of Awaken Your Work Life. Why? Because I'm the money chick and I've come to realize that money is the result of how you show up in the world. So if you're in a job that you hate, you dislike, you don't like the people you're around, you don't like the work that you're doing, you don't know how you're doing it, and it's just not giving you that same feed, well, this is why we bring 𝐾𝐿 to the table, because 𝐾𝐿 is helping us because she is the expert in the beyond your blind spots. What are you not seeing in your blind spots? Because it is time for us to take it off, because we're all negotiating our power away in 2021 is all about taking your power back. 𝐾𝐿, what do you think?
I think that's exactly what we should be talking about. Dude, it is, you and I were talking just briefly about power.
I know, right?
Power and how we think about power as being something that is outside of us. And yes, there's evidence of that, like political power, financial power, these things, but the ability to harness it comes from us.
I know.
And the choice to harness it comes from us.
And we need to choose that.
We have to choose it.
Choose our power. But we don't. I mean, look at this last 12 months, how many people have given away their personal power. You know, domestic violence is up over 60%. So someone in that household's given up their power to their relationship. How many people are giving away their power to their health and going, why are we not talking about building our immune systems as opposed to all the destruction of everything? Like, that's not stepping into our power. And we clearly have been given a beautiful mirror, and I'm going to call it a beautiful mirror, for us to look at the work that we're doing in the world that's providing you a paycheck, but is it serving your soul?
Yeah.
And if it's not, you're giving your power away. Because I know more money comes when you feed your heart and your soul in the work that you do for a paycheck.
Yeah.
Happens every time.
You know, and I think it kills us from the inside out.
Oh, it really does. It creates disease in our body. Absolutely.
Yeah, to be in denial of our truth. I mean, that word is going to keep coming up here over and over and over. Like every week, we're going to mention the word truth, y'all. So just get used to hearing that word.
Truth.
Because that's what it is. And it literally hurts my heart when I hear people and they're like, I don't have a choice. I have to do this. Or that's the only thing I could do. And the truth is there's always more than one option.
Yep.
There's always more than one option. The question is, which of these options are you going to choose? And are you going to create opportunity for yourself? Because once again, you know, I talk about turning the kaleidoscope, and that's like, with a kaleidoscope, like the little beads or the pieces of glass or whatever are in there, same pieces, but every time you turn it, you get a different picture, right? So it's the same elements created to make something different.
Right.
Ground beef and tomatoes can make chili or tacos. You know what I mean? It's like
that's really good. I'm like, what? Tomato and tacos, chili? What? You're right though. You're so right.
Or pizza.
You're the ingredient. So what do you want to create and swizzle? And we are the creators of our lives.
We are.
Oh,
and inherent in that is all the power we could ever imagine. You know, there's some things, and we're not going to get into it, going on like politically that everybody said couldn't happen and are happening, you know, and it's like, where did that come from? Like, how did that actually happen? And I just really want people to understand that even when it feels like you're stuck or backed into a corner, there are ways to help you get to where you want to go, or to either get out of it or to get to where you want to go. So, you know, that power, that choosing, and there may be people listening who are saying like, yeah, but how does that work? How does it work? And it works by, the very first thing I encourage people to do is to be clear about their truth. Like, what do you want? Because
Mhm.
until you nail that down, you're gonna like, you could take 2 steps that way or 2 steps that way, or like feel like you're just treading water. So the first thing is like, what do you really want?
Yeah, and you're not stuck. You
Mm-mm.
always have a choice. You may have a time period where you're walking across the bridge to get to that other choice, but you always have a choice.
Mhm.
And all you have to do is believe that.
Yeah,
Once you believe it, that's when the change starts to occur.
yeah. And it's, gosh, this is almost like a deja vu, but it's like the belief and the here's the thing. For those of you who are like, they can't even believe it, like I say, are you willing to stand in the neutral zone? Because, sometimes it's hard for people to get all the way to, yes, I believe it. But
Hmm.
on the other end of it is like, it'll never happen,
Right,
right? And what I'm saying is, are you willing to stand somewhere in the middle and be
right,
like, "I
right.
wonder." And if you can at least get there, then other ideas will come to you. So maybe you're not able to like really believe it yet.
Be like, here I go.
But can you stand in a space of possibility of
Mm,
like, well, maybe it could happen. I don't know. I wonder. And if you can stand there, that's huge. It's
right,
huge. Just get
right,
there.
right.
And so realistically, there's no reason not to be able to say, I don't know how this might
And
play
you
out.
may just say, I just know I want it to be different.
Correct.
And that is the choice.
Yep. And
And we rarely, what, allow ourselves to be open to the magic, allow ourselves to be open to what you haven't already figured out, right? Because we don't necessarily know the how. I remember in my business, I knew I had to get out of the mahogany desk financial firm.
yeah, I can't ever imagine you in a navy blue suit with a white shirt and a little bow
Oh
tie.
God. And one time they told me my skirt was too short. And I was like, oh Jesus Christ. Like, pardon my French, but I just was like, oh, the conformity. Like, just, I am a girl that needs to express herself, right? And I remember that when I had first decided, and it was back in 2003, where I was going, okay, it's time for me to take that next step to let my work freak flag fly and really be that financial planner. And
Mhm.
I bought an office space in the West Loop of Chicago, which is exposed brick loft space that looks nothing like a mahogany desk financial firm. And I sat there and I literally was in my meditation that day going, I don't know how I'm going to fiscally do this. I just knew I was supposed to. And do you know, like 2 weeks after I moved in that office space, Citibank sends me a credit card that says, we'll give you a $10,000 credit line for starting your corporation. I was like, huh? They do those things? And I literally activated the card. I still have that card to this day,
Yeah,
almost 20 years later.
because
And
they helped you bootstrap.
honest to God, in that transition of moving into my own office, and back then, technology was not what it is today, where a laptop's $700.
Yeah,
It was
no.
a laptop you leased for
Right.
$400 a
That's
month.
right. Right.
Like, it was
Right.
expensive. I had the big old Xerox machine like that. That
Yeah,
was
and people
like
had to come
$5
in
a
and
year.
set up like servers or whatever in your
Right.
space. Yeah.
And I remember going, how am I going to afford this monthly nut? Because I was literally unplugging my life from the old mahogany financial firm, and I was going completely independent and into my own new space. And I had
Yeah.
no idea on how that was going to work out. A lot of people look at me going, well, Julie, everything just kind of works out for you. No, I was on the wire. But what I knew is I believed that I wasn't going to fail and that I would find my way and that everything would still fall into alignment, and it did.
Mhm.
And I still laugh to this day that Citibank credit card showed up in the mail. And you know what? I used that $10,000 line those
I'm
first.
sure you did over and over again.
I figured it was provided for a reason. No, but But, you know, and all jokes aside, I do believe debt traps us into not being able to make decisions. It makes us less nimble.
Yeah,
So we
absolutely. I
definitely
mean,
want to be mindful of that. But it was exactly what I needed at that particular time to help me walk across that bridge that I always talk about.
yeah, and I think that I don't know, these are golden nuggets for anybody who's listening. I think, you know, if you're really feeling like, that sounds great, you guys, but I still don't believe it, like, come on with us some week and let us like work with you and like let us, you know,
We would
guide you.
love to showcase one of you. Like, let us help you work through your stuff to
Yep.
get you to this next place, because there is no better way to do that with showing an example of, you know, Karen and I can talk about how we jumped off the ledge
Right.
and how we started our worlds, you know, but particularly in times like this, it is ripe for innovation and creativity
Yep.
to create everything you desire.
Yeah, this is the season. You know,
Mhm.
numerologically, 2021 is a 2, a 2, and a 1. So it's a 5. 5 is freedom seeking. So if you're trying to get out of anything, recreate, find your path to however you define freedom, this is a year for it.
Right.
Last year was 4, which is the teacher.
Hmm.
So yeah, we had a lot to learn.
Right.
Like all of us learned a lot, but this year is the year to plot your path. And
Mhm.
here's the thing, it doesn't have to be wholesale. It doesn't have to be huge in the beginning. It is like one step at a time. And all we're asking you to do is take the first step.
Right. Keeping the vision in alignment. Like, I had no idea how some things would show up in my life. And I just kept saying, well, this is the vision. And then, you know, I just recently went to Costa Rica for to work with some shamans.
Yeah.
And wouldn't you know, I've been wanting to work with somebody who is a writer that understood the holistic world, so understood the energy and the money world. And do you know that my first day in the pool in Costa Rica, guess who's swimming in the pool with me? A
Somebody,
woman who is an independent contractor, who's a writer, whose mother is a financial planner.
yeah,
How do you plan that?
you don't.
And then I needed somebody to help me build my online funnels. And here comes little old Esteban, this cute little like 26-year-old little punk. That's all he's done. He's like, yeah, I'm just and he works in a financial planner's office currently. And he
Yeah.
has his licenses just like I do. But his dream is to do online marketing funnels. And he loves the fact that he found a financial planner that has all the content that he wants to put out. Like, these two magic nuggets just showed up in my world because what I did is I held the vision. I had no idea how these people were going to show up. I just knew I was supposed to go to this Costa Rica trip and do this work with the shamans. And so did those two people. And voila. It's like
Yeah.
magic.
And here's the thing. Everybody listening to this has had an experience where something worked out for them.
Mm.
At least one. It might only be one, but you've had
Right.
one where it
Right.
was like out of nowhere, God knows how, and you looked up and it worked out.
Hmm.
Here's the thing, that is repeatable.
Right.
You can duplicate that, but it does take the discipline on your part. And maybe, Julie, this is the place where the belief comes in. It's belief, like you were saying earlier, in your dream.
Mm.
Belief,
It really is. That's where it all starts.
belief in your dream. And it takes time sometimes to develop a real sense of deservability.
Mm.
Like there's so many of us who, for a variety of reasons, may feel like we don't deserve
Right.
some of the things that we are holding in our heart. But this is what I'm going to tell you. You cannot imagine a way, you cannot stuff down far enough, you cannot really ever completely deny what's true in your heart. So if you have a dream and if it's ever peeked its little head out and shown itself to you, you can't shake it. You can try
It
to
never
ignore
goes
it.
away.
Yeah, you can try to push it down. You can try. And here's what happens when we live with those those dreams in denial, it's like walking around with shackles on your ankles or an albatross around your neck. And it creates a disharmony between the head. The head is saying, no, 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 you can't have that. You don't want it. You don't deserve it. And the heart is saying, but wait, this is what I see for us. This is your blueprint. Came to the planet with this blueprint. That's what it sits in the chambers of our heart.
Right.
It's not going anywhere, y'all. You can try to ignore it, but it's not going anywhere, and it creates suffering.
It does. It absolutely does.
So acknowledge your truth. Acknowledge what's coming up for you. Acknowledge your desires, your heart's desires, your hopes. Acknowledge them, because it is only in that acknowledgement that you can start to take action. It doesn't have to be huge, like we said, huge holistic action. It's like one step. And
and you were, Karen, you were saying earlier that, and I even wrote it down, it's like every thought, every word, and every action we have is us in our power. So what thoughts are going through your head? What words are you using? What action steps are you doing on a daily basis?
Yep.
Because that is you either stepping into power or taking your power away from you.
Yeah.
And
or
sometimes it's just a level of this awareness, right?
Yeah. Or burning it. It's like burning money. Like we would never, most people would never even consider burning $1.
But we scorch ourselves all the time.
But we say things we don't mean. We say things about ourselves. And every time you do that, it's like burning. It's burning your power. You know, you have to speak favorably over yourself and others.
Right.
You know, you have to invite what you want in your heart. You know, it's not, so I like to use that example. Like if your words were money, how are you spending them?
So true.
And the trickier part are your thoughts. It's not always easy to wrangle those. You know, words you can kind of get a hold on, but your thoughts, it's a discipline to be able to recognize and catch when you're starting to think something that diminishes, it draws out of your bank account.
And so if the words coming out of your mouth or the thoughts going through your head about your work life currently are not one that's expansive and one of excitement, that's the tell sign that you're not being fed on a soul level in the work you're doing in the world.
Yeah. And I use this example, and we say it all the time. I have to.
You don't have to do anything, I tell my children.
And notice when you say that versus I want to.
Oh, you turn into a victim instantly. Scarcity mentality. Money falls away from you then.
I have to do this. I have to do that versus I want to. I'm excited to. I'm looking forward to. Like if we just, like, not even for a whole day, half a day, if somebody just recorded the way we talk and the things we say, and then we went back and we looked at that film and we took tallies of every time we said something that felt like, to your point, victim versus empowered action. Just notice, how many times have you said, I have to go to the grocery store? Yeah. Okay. I
have this woman who at the end of last year said, well, I have to take my vacation time, but I have to do these projects at work that I didn't get to. And I'm like, well, how are you taking vacation and having to do these projects? I said, because she takes it all on and doesn't delineate the work because she feels that she has to. But that's the same role she played in her family growing up. She took on all the family problems. Parents died younger than normal. She felt responsible for her siblings, and and now she's recreated her family. Even though she's estranged now from her family, she's recreated that in her work life all over again. And so these patterns tend to follow us when we don't address what's driving us into the situations and the places and what it is that we're allowing ourselves to be in and day out.
And
And go ahead.
I was going to say, and usually there are hard choices. Like, and it's
Very much
funny
so.
because,
Yeah.
and I invite people, don't judge what looks like or seems hard for one person, but is easy for you. You know, like for somebody to say no to a family member could be like the hardest thing they've ever done. And for you, it might be like, I'm not fooling with those people. They're always trying to get something from me. Right? Like we
Right.
have to be very careful about judging what's hard for people.
Right. That's so true. And it's like, how do we get to this next right step?
And so for her, being the caretaker, being the responsible one, being the one that's like always cleaning up the mess, the hardest thing for her to do is likely to be to delegate and to
Right.
say no. And some of us would look at that and be like, I am taking my vacation. That's your job. I don't need to do your job. It could be very easy for some people. But in her case, that is a soul lesson. And it got implanted early. And like to your point, it's repeating itself. And here's the thing, it gets harder and harder. Like it's going to show up again until she makes the choice. If she was doing this willingly and lovingly, and like, I love when people pile it on, give me more, she wouldn't feel the way she feels.
Right.
So yeah, it's the I have to, and the recognition that she doesn't want to do it. And if you don't want, like, that's that head and that heart.
Well, and it's a suffering pattern, right?
Yep.
So I have to. I'm using my vacation days to work all this, to get all this done. And she's going to get the same raise, the same. That doesn't change. Until we choose to stop the suffering patterns, you can't attract more money to you because everything is energy. So if you're vibrating at a place where I have to in the workplace, this is why you're not getting the pay raises you desire. And this is why you're not getting the bonuses you desire or the new positions you desire.
Yeah. And this is why you can't see the creative options that might be sitting right under your nose. Like there's so many ways. There's so many people that are like, I don't want to leave. I can't leave my job. Okay. I'm not telling you to leave your job, but is there something else in the company that you would rather be doing? Is there a project you would prefer to take on? Like you have the power to pitch that stuff. Now they might tell you no, but you went for it. And you never know whether that kernel of initiative, how that's going to sit with whoever you pitch the idea, the concept to.
And I think it's important for you to stay open in this process of trying to find what that next right step is for you from a work life perspective is stay open. You know, we tend to want to figure out the trail as to where we're going. Stay in the mystery, kind of like childbirth. Like, don't go find out whether you're having a boy or a girl. Like, stay in the mystery for the 9 months, right? Think of it from that perspective. Why? Because you don't know how great it can actually show up for you. But if you're trying to control every step of the way, there's not as much of a mystery. And I have found that, you know, I had one woman who was convinced that she was going to be leaving her employer after 27 years. She was going to go do this outside consulting thing, and it was going to show up somehow, some way. And then at one point, the partner of the firm came to her and said, she kept holding the vision of what she wanted to create. That at some point, a higher partner in the firm, one of the highest positions in the firm, came to her and said, we're creating this new initiative and we'd like you to run it. And it was exactly the vision. And she kept saying to me over and over again, Julie, I really don't think that this is going to happen. Julie, like, I have to do this outside. It doesn't even exist in this firm. And I go, can you please stop just judging it? Stop pigeonholing it and allow the universe to supply it in a manner. Your job is to hold the vision. Feel yourself in this place where you have this joy and you're being fed in the work that you're doing in the world, and allow yourself to be surprised as to how it shows up for you. And then it did. And then she got an $80,000 a year pay raise She was
Holy
already making a bunch of money, and she got about $400,000 more of stock in the firm. And it was like, you can't plan that.
yeah.
Your job is to hold the vision for what you want to be doing and continue day in and day out, holding that vision. And when the tactical steps show up and you go, oh, yeah, I'm supposed to take that meeting. I'm not really sure, but I'm drawn to go do it. You go do it.
Yep.
Because it does take those action steps. But this is how you step in your power and stay in your power.
Yeah. I mean, you raise another really good point, which is a big part of the practice is to be a receiver, right?
Oh,
Just to step
right?
enough to watch what's coming into your view and to be prepared to like say
Mhm.
yes. I don't mean prepared with all the answers and all the stuff, but be prepared to say yes. Thank you.
Right. Right.
Yeah, it's
Or one of the things that you first taught me, Car, when I started working with you is you said, thank you, more please. My kids now say that. Thank you, more please. It
Yeah,
just raises your vibration. And it's like, and it makes people giggle. So why not?
it does. And it's the kind of thing you have to be willing to believe in possibility and stand in that neutral zone and look at your vision or look at your hopes or look at your dreams. And sometimes it hurts because it feels like it's not happening. But if you don't look at it, then you're
Gotta
not
look. You gotta look.
going to be in position to recognize an
Oh,
opportunity when it
so
comes to you.
true. Oh, great stuff.
I
Well,
know.
and again, Karin and I are here to help you. We are doing this because we really want to have everyone to be working from a place in your work life to where you have passion and purpose and meaning behind it, as well as a fantastic paycheck, right? And that you're being fed along the way. This is not just, you don't have to follow your heart and soul and not get paid. Like that is such a misnomer.
Mhm.
Like right now, if we are following our heart and soul, I have found over 27 years of doing this that more money follows. Absolutely more money follows. And you deserve it.
You
And so
deserve
we're here to help. So send us messages. If you would like for us next Wednesday to unpack your situation and help you live, we'll pull you on screen. I know Karin and I are here for the greater good for us all to get to the next right step because it's time for all of us to thrive. Absolutely thrive.
Absolutely.
So Karin, how can people find you?
Oh, sure. You can find me at Beyond Blind Spots, beyondblindspots.com. On Facebook, it's Beyond Blind Spots. On Instagram, it's Beyond Blind Spots. Come and check us out.
Good stuff. And by all means, come check us out at juliemurphy.com. And if you haven't seen, I have an offer for my book to go out to you for free. Just pay for your own shipping because I want to help people to get to a life that they love.
Love it.
Yay. We'll see you guys next Wednesday. And thanks for joining us, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.